What's up, dudes? Welcome back to another episode of Rhomas Men's Team. Pretty simple. We are a group of guys helping each other make progress towards each other's goals. If you're new to the channel, awesome and welcome. If you want to help support the channel and join our pro team, head over to rhomasteam.com/pro, where you can contribute to us on a donation basis. We also give you access to exclusive content, mastermind groups, etc., etc. So anyway, hope you enjoy this episode, and we'll see you on the team. What's up, dudes? Mr. Ray, what's going on, brother?
Good morning, Wes. Life is good. I'm
Awesome.
in the beautiful city of Montreal.
Just want to let the guys know. So Matt's going to be out for a little while because he's on baby daddy duty. And Mr. Ray has been executing literally for years now. So we asked him to come and join the team. So I should have made that announcement last weekend. It's an honor to have you as a co-host here, brother. Good seeing you.
Thank you, Wes. Wes sounds fine. All right, let's proceed.
That's cool. And then I think I see Troy. Let me know. Are you dealing with something? I just kind of glanced over at the notes. Let me know if you're dealing with something. We can have you on, brother. Let's see. I'll invite you up, and if you want to join, then let's join. Okay. Yeah, I think this would be good.
Hey,
we were going to discuss.
I got a PhD.
What'd you say, buddy?
I got a PhD in that subject.
Yeah. So Troy, I just invited you up, man. If you're down for coming up, I think I invited you. So yes, invite Troy. Just in case you didn't get it, I'll invite you again. So Troy, if you want to come up on stage, brother, let's do it. If not, no sweat, man. We will continue on our normal course of action here. Oh, here he is. Yes, Mr. Troy.
Yes,
no shirt, even like full beard. I love it, dude.
Killer.
Hey, I have to have myself muted when I'm talking because otherwise there'll be some reverb from you guys. But yeah, I'm doing all right.
I'll mute and you take the lead, Wes.
Actually, we don't have any reverb.
You're good. Sounds good.
Yep.
Awesome. Wow. First time. Yeah, I'm doing okay. All things considered. This morning I looked up some Narcotics Anonymous groups. I'm not doing heavy drugs. It's weed. Just it's been too much. I've talked about it before here. And when I looked up a helpline to maybe get connected to a specific group, make it a little bit easier. The woman was pushing a lot for professional help, which I can't really do outside of this month because I'm losing my insurance. Turned 26. And I was looking for something more sustainable, like a group. As you've said multiple times, you find a group that can help. She really, really was like, no, you do the help and then you get the group. I'm like, I don't have the time to do that. I need to make as much money as possible to get the fuck out of my family's house. And for something that could possibly just be horse shit, I've done certain amounts of professional therapy, not too consistent because it felt like shit. It never felt helpful. And yeah, I was on the phone for a long time with this woman. She was really just pushing. It's like, hey, I know you're going to lose your insurance in a month, but let me try to get you into therapy that you can only do for 2 or 3 sessions max for the rest of this month and then pay out the ass for everything else. And it was really disheartening because I just wanted to look for a group and get paired with that. And she really was not being cooperative.
Mm. Ray, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think
now we're getting the reverb. Sorry, dude.
How about now? Okay. So I think that, have some compassion for this lady. She's used to people dialing who are at their wits' end, who have hit rock bottom, whose lives are destroyed by drugs. And they sometimes think that 1 or 2 group meetings is going to turn them into the Wolf of Wall Street. So I think she has a kind of script that she works from, probably, where it's like, this person on the phone is probably underplaying the severity of the situation. So yeah, have a little compassion for her. But then again, you are correct. Like, she is not the guru that is going to give you a tailored solution for your situation. You know, when I was struggling with cocaine addiction, I thought, like you, that the group would be a sufficient remedy for my problem, but and my family doctor required me to have a holistic approach that included therapy, that included couples therapy, and then also just a one-on-one therapist. So that was what worked for me for a habit that was destroying my life, that was really getting in the way of me following my dreams. I can only tell you what I went through and what my solution was. Eventually, I didn't need the group anymore, and I don't do the therapies anymore. I'm not sure if that is a good thing, but it was a crazy time commitment. You know, I was doing multiple hours of NA meetings a day. I was doing therapy once a week, group sessions, and I was doing solo therapy once a week too. So it was like a huge time and resource commitment, but it did help me to get my life on track. So
Can I ask something? How do you feel now compared to when you ended the meetings, when you first ended the meetings and regular therapy, to how you're feeling now? Do you feel confident in your sobriety now?
Yes, I do feel confident in my sobriety, but there are still times when I feel very insecure, and I'm in a party environment that you know, I'm in a situation of kind of like vulnerability or temptation. Those things happen, so I still rely on the tools. But I'm bulletproof compared to the way I was 2 years ago.
Yeah, the only objection I had to the therapy thing was the one-on-one therapy is the fact that I don't have insurance after this month. And there's no guarantee a job that I have will fulfill that. So I don't want to have that as one of the main things I do when I first start getting sober as soon as possible, and then lose that when I might need it for longer, you know?
100%. And it's also very strange that the person on the phone would discourage you from going to group. Strange.
She wasn't discouraging it. She was saying that's the thing you do after you get the help. Even though I've heard different ways of doing it. She's like, oh no, that's the minority case. It's like, I've heard that for most cases, I've heard that people that go through AA or NA will just start going, and then they keep with it. They keep showing up. And
well, the paradox of the program is that people in the program are very strict about like only following the program, but after a while, like, they also say, for as many addicts as there are just as many ways to recover. So at some point, like, if you're serious about quitting pot, you will find your own kind of tailored program that works for you, right? Question, and let's broaden the subject to like, I think it might be helpful for those listening. Describe your pot habit. I mean, pot's legal now. There's no shame in smoking it. Tell me about your habit, how many times a week, whatever, and why you think it's out of control.
I mean, when you listing it as a week for me is like, it's better to narrow it in by daily use, because yeah, it's first thing I wake up, 1 or 2 spliffs in the morning, go to the gym after showering, after the gym, smoke some more weed, go do DoorDash. This is the most recent schedule I've had. Go do some DoorDash, come back home, smoke some weed, maybe take a nap. Yeah, I'd say 4, 5, 6 times a day, pretty consistently. And I've been doing it anywhere from 2 to 8 times a day for the past 10 years, 10 to 11 years, with very minor breaks, either for traveling or a drug test. And I've even failed a drug test when I was 19 because I just couldn't get my shit together at the time. But yeah, that's, and
right on.
I just want to throw in one thing, which I think it's good to just be honest about it, but I don't think it's my main issue. Is I started drinking more during COVID. I don't feel out of control with it. That is something interesting with it, because that is the one that's more addictive, but I don't feel that I don't feel it as a thing I need to, I don't want to do it when I wake up, because it fucks everything up. Like, as simple as it fucks my fasting up, and I'm just like, I can't do that. That's another thing about weed. I can fast all fucking day with it. I could do the thing. I can do so much. I can be active while still high. Can't do that while I'm drunk. That's what keeps me from doing it. The woman that I was talking to was implying, like, even though I was like, yeah, I do drink, but it's like, oh, you're also powerless to that. I'm like, no, I've taken time off and felt confident with it. I find the drinking is more of a symptom of my current situation of living at home post college, post COVID, not having my shit together enough. And I think the weed is the main addiction. I'm just laying all out there about my substance use with this. So one thing I found, which I really enjoyed, stimulants I do not like. I've very rarely dabble with cocaine, only when it's around, and I don't like it. In the past few weeks, tried Molly for the first time. Well, not for the first time, for the first time in probably over a year. And I realized, like, oh, this shit isn't for me. So I've narrowed down what is my vice. And it's definitely just weed at this point. And yeah, it's been interesting to figure that out.
Hey dudes, sorry for the interruption here. Just wanted to let you know, if you want to join our pro team, go to romasteam.com/pro. You can help support the channel. You will also get access to exclusive content, masterminds, one-on-one sessions, etc. All right, back to the episode.
Okay, so first of all, you're looking amazing, dude. The bod, the beard, like Wes said. I mean, I was trying to focus on what you said, but I was also thinking the whole time, damn, he's like a villain in the Matrix reboot. But I can tell you, I could say something like alcohol is the devil. I can tell you that all drugs are bad. The reality is that people like me can't really follow and realize their goals and dreams if there's drugs or alcohol in the picture. I can't really show up for my family if there's drugs and alcohol in the picture, and that's just something I have to live with. That's how I have to plan my day and my diet and all that, because of that reality. Other people can drink and still function at work, or not function at work, but other people can have an alcohol habit and still get up and go to work, still show up for their family, still execute. I'm not one of those people. I wouldn't encourage anybody to drink or do alcohol or drink or do drugs, but I know that Wes, for example, I don't think there's a history of addiction in Wes' family, or Wes has addiction issues, but he doesn't drink or do drugs for his own reasons. And so, Wes, do you want to come in and talk about why you choose to live a sober life, even though it's not an addiction and recovery story?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so number one, Troy, I love you for coming on here, bud. And I haven't seen you in a while, so it's awesome to fucking have you on here. And also, I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to this stuff, right? Like, which I also think might be maybe a good perspective to add. So what works for me? Number one, I just think you and all of the guys are worth more than whatever you're dependent on. And I literally don't care if that's weed, if it's literally anything, either whether it be substance, relationship, whatever, that is not congruent with your goals. I don't care whatever the thing is, and I don't care whatever your goals are. But you need to have those goals, and then you have to remove, I think, systematically removing any obstacles to that, especially that are holding you back. So, and I don't know that this is healthy. Probably a psychologist might tell me otherwise. My goal, my strategy is to always out offense my problems. Like literally just focus like fully, and I was just talking to Ray about this, focusing fully on, let's say, the scorecard, and focusing fully on what the goals are in the business. And then if I notice something's getting in the way, and I know this sounds overly simplistic, but first I get mad at myself. And then it's just like, and then I think about the ultimate thing, like who's depending on me. And I don't know if I showed you guys this, but did I tell you guys I have an enemies card? Did I tell you that? Yeah. So like I look at my enemies card, and it's like, then it's just a fork in the road, right? Like literally it's like, okay, am I going to let my enemies beat me, or am I going to beat my enemies? Right. And as simplistic as that sounds, and maybe as unhealthy as that sounds, that's where I go. So if it's weed, great, knock it off the fucking list. Now, I also I keep it in that space of, I know I'm not going to make 100% progress tomorrow. So that's where I love having this group to talk to, because, for instance, if I want to drop 10 pounds, I just dropped 10 pounds in 4 days. How did I do it? I didn't eat, right? Like, I just didn't eat. Like that's how I answer. I had a few handfuls of popcorn. But if we go out there and say that to the world, they're like, oh my gosh, how unhealthy is that? It's like, no, I don't take it to a realm where I'm going to become, diseased with what do they call it? What's the disease where you don't eat? I was slipping my mind.
Anorexia.
Yeah, exactly. I'm at no risk to become anorexic. Now, I'm not telling somebody who is at risk to become anorexic. I would never tell them to do that. But so like my first gut reaction is, dude, I think you're so much more worth it than whatever the habit is you think is not serving you. So that's the first thing. Then it's like, yeah, it's fucking work, dude. Like it's hard, right? And I know that you are up for that work. Like the fact that it's a struggle, in my opinion, is a good thing. I also see it as a blessing that, and I hate even saying this, and Ray would, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, I'm happy that it's weed. I'm happy it's not heroin. My best friend is addicted to heroin. Right, like
it's a two-edged sword. It's a two-edged sword, whatever the phrase is, because one, it won't kill me, which is very nice. Because if I was doing any other drug in the amounts that I've smoked weed, I would be dead. I literally just had a friend actually die of heroin just a few days ago, and yeah, I was just like, holy fuck! I had no idea. I'm on Facebook, and my friend just texted me. He's like, yeah, found this out. And I was like, fuck, it's always been a blessing that it won't kill me, but also it's kind of sucks because I don't have that harsh lesson if I have like something happen to me where it's like, oh, I need to stop smoking weed because it will kill me, but it doesn't. So it's nice that it won't kill me, but it's also like, it doesn't give that sort of wake up reminder to like do that.
No, I completely agree. And I would argue, and as corny as this sounds, the way that I would think about it's not killing you currently, but it's killing your future potential self, like for sure. And that's the problem, right? But so I think if you can increase the dial, the heat on how seriously you take it, and then realize what it is killing off in you. And then, it's like, I think it's, is it it's ASB. So ASB. So I'm all about replacing the bad habit with a more positive habit like that. I just call that out offensing my problems. And I think personally, that can be done in perpetuity, at least for me. Like I know for sure, dude, if I sit at home by myself, it's why I'm almost never home. If I sit at home by myself with like nothing on the plan, no scorecard in hand, no gym on hand, no work, the shit that I would do, I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to go down that road of talking about it because I would get into such terrible shit. There's no doubt about it. I just think as men, especially ambitious men, we need to have our hands constantly busy. As opposed to, yes, I know the conversations of like sit there, zen it out, meditate, and I do all of that stuff. But dude, I can't meditate for 24 hours a day. Right? Like I need to be active with it. Oh, Sorry, can't hear you, bro.
I was going to say, I've been living for the past few months of just sitting at home, and it drives you fucking wild. It makes you cynical of relationships. Like my family, like I love my parents. Despite any qualms I have with them, I know that they love me, and they love me unconditionally. I'm their only child. Like they put everything into me, but I find myself, if I'm just sitting at home, I just start dwelling like, what the fuck? Why are they just bothering me with all this just nonsense, complete nonsense? I start over evaluating everything. And you're right, like being busy has been the best thing for me whenever I spend the most time out of the house. Absolutely. I definitely do better, even if it's like nothing like taxing on my brain, like DoorDash. I just put on, you mentioned this a while ago. I just started getting into it again as I've want to work through this addiction stuff, staying busy. Like you said, like just do DoorDash for a few hours, just put on music and just don't fucking care about anything else. And that's helped a lot. Just like doing stuff like that. And I'm not anywhere near where I want to be with it. But as you said, it's not 100% change. It's 2% every day, maybe.
Yeah. Do you mind if I throw out some tough love to you as well? Okay. Now
I was expecting this part. I was like, oh Jesus Christ! If Wes is the only one talking, this is going to be a rough one with about addiction.
Yeah. So this comes from a place of love, bro. Like I know we've talked about before you moving out away from your parents. I promise you, dude, like this comes from brother to brother. You will never be able to synthetically manufacture independence when you are dependent. Like, I promise you, like I've tried it before. Like I've tried it in the past. Like dude, I swear to you, and we could sit down and you're a smart dude. You could intellectualize how you are manufacturing that independence, but I promise you it's not. Right? Like if you have to build your own roof over your head, it is infinitely different than having someone else provide that roof. There is no comparison. So I think there's a great book called The Rational Optimist. And one of the things that he talks about in that book was all of these people philosophizing about how America's evil while they're texting on their iPhone. It's like, that's because you're able to do that. You're able to philosophize so much because America and other developed countries have gotten so rich. It has bought you your own free time. Right. Versus that is synthetically manufacturing like independence, right? They think they're independent, but the reality is the country or their family has purchased them time to be independent, right? Like remove that shit. Ray, what do you got to say, bro? I think he's raising his hand.
Yep. Troy, you got to read this book Tribe with us because it speaks to what you're going through so much. Specifically, and maybe we'll pick this up again on Thursday, but specifically initiation into manhood, right? The author talks about Australian tribes or African tribes that have these like painful, dangerous initiation rituals into manhood, involving like starving in the desert or like feats of strength, right? Luckily, we don't have life-threatening initiation rituals, but then when does manhood begin? Technically, you're over 18, technically you're working, but you're living in your parents' house saving money. Do you feel like an adult? Probably not. You don't probably feel like a man the way a tribal leader feels like a man, right? The author then goes into why do men jump off cliffs into the quarry, into the lake? Why do men drive excessive speed? Why do young men fight and take risks? Why do young men die in violence or accidents at like 10 times the rate of young women? Is it maybe because we're trying to find the initiations into manhood for a society that doesn't provide them anymore, right? So I would agree with Wes that your parents love you and you love them, but as long as you live with them, you're not accessing all of the inner resources that you have of realizing your magnificence as a man. And I would agree with I would concur that I would agree with you. I would also say that smoking weed is preventing you from realizing your goals for sure. It may not be preventing you. I mean, I don't see how weed's helping you, like on the path of progress. And I'm looking at the bot, and I know you for like almost 2 years now, Troy, and I know you are on the path of progress. And I feel like you know deep down that your weed habit is not congruent with your goals. And so
yeah, you guys have been spot on with it. Like that's a thing when you're, I don't, maybe you felt this way when you were using, but even like I'll be smoking and just be like, fuck, I am living at home. I'm 26 years old. I'm doing jack shit with myself. I have these feelings, and it's definitely in there. But yeah, the weed is just, it is bye-bye, Ray. But it's just how should I phrase this? Yeah, these things are just, they're just in the back of my mind. Even as I'm using drugs and everything, using weed, because that's the thing. When I say drugs, it sounds so much worse. It's literally just, I'm a pothead. I'm a pothead that has no motivation, and that's the stereotype of a pothead. And I think that's just what comes with someone that is addicted to weed. As little as people talk about it, it's so accepted, which is another thing that makes it a lot harder to, and that's me putting external blame though, but it's very easy to fall into this when it's like, oh, there's like alcohol you can be addicted to easily. Weed, nah, you're fine. So it feels like a very, very lonely process to try to get sober, especially because I'm just living at home, only child that is like, as much as I love my parents, I can't take their advice as much because I want to be in a much better place than they are. That's why I come to you guys with this stuff, as a humble injured warrior, just like, hey guys, this is how it is. But if I tell that to my parents, it's like, oh my God, we need to send you to the hospital, patch everything up. Like, no. Let's figure out the root problem with what's going on internally. And we can do this together without getting meds or inpatient things that go on for over a month. I've seen a lot of people go through those programs my age and just get fucked by them entirely. Just they get abused, they get not the proper treatment. And I'm not saying it's like, oh, I don't want to do that professional inpatient stuff. If it was necessary, that's necessary. But I don't think it is it's definitely not at this moment right now. I just need to stop smoking weed and do more things for myself.
Well, Troy, I'm always here for you, man. I know you have my cell phone number. We text, we talk, and I want you to text me or call me anytime you want to talk about this or you're feeling shitty. Second of all, listening is a gift, and Wes and I are listening to you right now, and we're on your side 100%. I know all the dogs are too. There's nothing weird about what you're going through. There's nothing weird about it. Like, no. You can. It's yes. It's unique compared to heroin because heroin isn't as universally accepted. Heroin isn't marketed to us now in the form of gummies and all kinds of stuff, right? So pot is legal, alcohol is legal. Doesn't matter. That can ruin lives too. You know, there's a 12-step program for just about everything you can think. Obesity, eating is legal. It ruins, like food probably kills more people in the US than drugs on an annual basis, right? Alcohol is legal. Think about how many lives alcohol destroys. Sex addiction, there's a group for that. So like I'm not condemning you or disagreeing with you. I'm just expanding on the issue that the fact that it's legal doesn't mean that you don't have a right to be overwhelmed by your consumption of it. You know, the reason I love. Stay muted, boys.
Sorry. I just really want to say real quick. Yeah, it's me. It's just me putting external issue. It's pushing it on the external as opposed to being like, oh, I don't need to smoke weed. Yeah, it's exactly that.
Okay, so the next thing I'm going to say is what I loved about the group, which is called like the group, which is your 12-step, your AA, your NA, your Overeaters Anonymous, your Sex Addicts Anonymous, whatever it is that it is the opposite of isolation. Okay. Even if an alcoholic goes to a bar and is social when he drinks, he's isolating himself from his family. If it ruins his career, he's isolating himself from his colleagues. A coke habit, which is what I had, isolated me from everybody except my dealer and the people who also had a coke habit. Pot isolates you. You don't have to come off the mic. You can nod if you agree that pot isolates you as well. So when you go to a group and you listen to other addicts, you can relate to them and the way they're isolated. You can get the shit scared out of you by listening to horror stories. And also you're making a commitment to yourself that you want to change. So I'm going to recommend that you listen to a group called The Bridge, which is a nightly call-in meeting. It was originally designed for people who are disabled and can't make it to the church basements for your AA and your NA. But during COVID, it just became open to anybody. And it's just a way for you to test drive NA and see if it'll help you to get your habit under control or to extinguish it altogether. Isolation, again, so even if you're not breaking the law with your habit, isolation is part of the bag of wonderful benefits that comes with a drug habit.
Yeah. And then functionally, Troy, and I agree with everything that Ray said, and I think his insight's outstanding because he's actually gone through the program and I have not. One thing I would say that I use constantly is some of your language around this, in my opinion, is left in like light purgatory. Like you're operating right in the middle of the road. Like, yeah, it's kind of getting in my way, but it's also not heroin, right? It's like, so an exercise that I use is like anything that's getting in my way of my goals, for the language, the monologue that I use inside of my own head, I make it more extreme. And
it's heroin. It's all heroin.
What is that?
Like anything that gets in the way of your goals is heroin.
Exactly. Like treat it like that. It's like, no, heroin. Exactly. Like I fucking hate this thing. And I don't care if it's watching TV. It doesn't matter. Like I fucking hate this thing because getting in the way of my future me. Now, the issue is if you haven't sat down and maybe increased your goals, North Star goals, it's like, dude, I think you're going to be a great father one day. I think you're going to be a great leader in some company if you're out in your own business or something like that. Like play for that game, not for the, oh, well, I can sustain my calories right now. So, and that's where I think like I got into a conversation recently, and it's funny because there was this girl who was talking to me and she had an ex-boyfriend and she wanted to go out on a date and I was talking and she's like, hey, I really like talking to you and like, I wonder why that is. And she was telling me about her ex-boyfriend. I was like, oh, your ex-boyfriend is a philosopher. He's only a philosopher. He's a rich kid who like now he went to, I forget, it's like Pepperdine or something like that to study philosophy or something crazy. It's like, yeah, you know what? His philosophy, there was something stupid. Like, it was something so abstract of like, does human attraction actually exist? It's like, dude, I'm not rich enough to have that conversation. Right. Like, so stick in the world, get yourself, in my opinion, get yourself out there in the world, go on your own hero's journey outside of your parents' protection, and you won't have time to smoke weed, because your game will be increased to such a level and it will extract the performance from you out of necessity. Right. You cannot manufacture necessity, no matter how much you and I want to do it. Like you can't do it. So get your ass out there and like go on your fucking hero's journey. Because dude, you're strong as hell, physically, mentally, emotionally, you can do it for sure. You just don't have to right now. I think that's the issue.
I really like that rephrasing of it because, yeah, I do speak a little bit too lightly of these things. I got to just be very directly honest with, I smoke way too much weed. I spend way too much money. I'm broke because of it. Things like that.
I do it way too much. I spend way too much money. All that. Phenomenal.
Yeah, it's something that it's just coming up with the truth of the situation, just like saying it how it is, not trying to sugarcoat it in any way, because that's the addict in me talking. Like I want to like keep it there just in case, like it may have hurt me. It's like an ex that will abuse the fuck out of you, but you still just like keep their number, like just in case. I can't keep doing that. I actually, and as much as I say I've made no progress, I definitely think I've cut out the not cut out. I lied to my drug dealer saying that I have a drug test coming up, so I can't smoke any more weed, so I don't get hit up by them. I don't hit them up because then I would just seem like a fucking addict. Then if I hit them up saying like, hey, let me get an eighth real quick, it's like, aren't you supposed to get a drug test? Like, yeah, about that. I can't do that. I can't do that.
Troy, I went through the same thing when I quit cocaine, where it was I felt such intense loyalty to my drug dealer that like I felt like I owed him an apology, like a coffee date. Like, it's absurd. No, this guy that was ruining my life, this guy who is basically the destroyer of families, communities, and noses. I felt like I owed him like a breakup. You know what I mean? Like a classy breakup. But you don't know this guy shit, man. This guy's getting so rude. Mute yourselves. You're not in Japan because of this guy. You're not in your own apartment because of this guy. Now, it's technically not his fault, but he is getting in the way. Every time he texts you or you text him, he's getting in the way of you going to Japan or you getting your own place. So, like, be as extreme as you want. Like, delete his number. You know, don't call him a slur, but like, be as extreme as possible to, like if you had a Krispy Kreme, look at that body. Like,
wait, sorry. I have to interrupt this one moment real quick, just because my dealer just texted me during this, like, hey, what's up? You need any? Oh my God. Oh, yeah. This is divine intervention, man. Like, this is perfect.
And guess what? You can try another thing. You can say, hey, man, I smoke 8 times a day. My habit's out of control. I got to stop. I'm trying to get to Japan. I'm trying to get my own place. My habit's getting in the way. He might say, oh, man, I'll give you a discount. Or he might actually say, I'm proud of you, man. Go for it. A couple of my drug dealers, one of my drug dealer in particular, he, after I told him I got to quit, he was like, I was about to tell you the same thing, Ray. You know? So, like, don't be surprised if he also thinks you should quit, and also don't care if he says otherwise, because this guy's ruining your life. You know, there's other people that he sells pot to who take a little toke before a croquet match, and he's not ruining their lives. Make no mistake about it. This guy's ruining your life.
Agreed. Totally agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just admit it.
Yeah, I need to be honest with myself with this, and don't give a fuck about what the external is trying to push onto me, whether it's a dealer or like a situation where everyone's smoking weed. Because like, I know plenty of people that literally, the guy that just texted me used to be a big pothead. He stopped smoking weed 2 years ago now, and he's much better for it. He just sells it now, which never mind. He's also something that Flocker said. Are they your drug dealer or are they your friend? That's one thing I've been very good. I have kept that mostly separated. That guy that just texted me, he is, I'd say, the closest to a friend, but I'm also someone I could tell him, it's like, hey, I'm done with this. Like, I don't smoke anymore. Like, I can't do this. It's fucking my life up. He would be totally on my side with it. So in regards to that, that's something that I feel good with. And that was just, it was kind of funny to have this talk, like, oh, like, tell your drug dealer to go fuck himself, as he's texting me at the very moment. And I never get text from him. That's very interesting that I would get a text now, because he never texted me about it, because I just would go to him all the time. So that's interesting that this happened now. But I'm not saying it's divine. It's a divine moment, but I don't know.
Yep.
I've had a lot of weird things happen in the past few weeks that make me think of God in a different way, or like moments being this way for a reason. So yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah.
All right, mute yourself. The reason he's texting you is because this is the only day in the last year that you haven't started texting him like a fucking jackrabbit at 7:30. Hey man, what's up? What's up? Hey buddy, what's up? A little early this time, but hey. So like, and I don't care if that's not true. That was my story, and so I have no doubts that you can do this. I see the way that you've taken your health seriously, the way you post updates from the gym. You are a savage on the level of me, Wes, Gunther, MFG, Kaizen, all the dogs. Like, I have no doubt that you can slay this challenge. No doubt in my mind. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah. Yeah. And one final cherry on top to put on this, man. There's zero doubt in my mind too. Do you have the mental, physical, and emotional strength to do it? I also think it's a good thing. Like us men, we need crosses to bear to prove our strength. Like I promise you, out here in Orange County, I know plenty of men who have no crosses to bear, and that is the worst scenario that you could possibly have. I promise you, where there's no problems to work on. And the cool thing is, like, if you've got the bigger the problem, the more strength you can build to solve it. The only thing that I would add to all of this is that it's not just holding you back, it's holding your future family back. It's holding you, it's giving you the inability, right? Like, you're pausing on all of that stuff, right? But the cool thing is, because this is such a heavy cross to bear, now it's building you into the type of man where you can teach your kids how to overcome obstacles. You can lead your wife and show her how you can prove to her and earn her by showing her the obstacles that you've overcome. And this is one of them.
Thank you for that. It's been hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but that's definitely very reassuring to hear that if I get my shit together, it will benefit my future self immensely. Which
when you get your shit together.
When absolutely when. Yeah. Thank you.
And that win should be like literally right now. Like, get your ass back to the scorecard, do that stuff, and then pick your own stuff to, like, just go and keep fucking going. I can tell, like, you know, you're fidgety, which is, in my opinion, is good, right? It shows a certain amount of energy is trying to get out of your body. So go and take that energy. Don't suppress it with some sort of substance. Go out there and fucking express it into the world. So I'm pumped for you, buddy, and I'm proud of you for coming back to the table and discussing this stuff, because we're all dealing with this shit, dude. So I love you for bringing it on, buddy. I appreciate it. And, lean on Ray, myself, Matt, and the rest of the team whenever you can.
Thanks. I felt that I was going to be. I hate coming in with bullshit like this. I've been struggling with random shit, and I hate feeling like bullshit. My breakup, I've dealt with this before, figuring out moving out, my move out and everything. I hate coming in. It's like, dude, I'm still struggling with this shit. It makes me feel like a fucking pussy. And
you think we can't relate?
It's so empowering to have you guys be there for me and be supportive. Even the tough love is like, oh, I need this right now. Like, I thought I was going to be beating the fuck up on Crowdcast today. I was like, oh man, it's going to be rough. It's going to be a hard one, but no, you guys are great. Thank you so much for all your great words.
Hell yeah. Right back at you, bro. Yeah. And dude, in terms of like coming back on, dude, that's exactly what the group is here for, right? To share our wins and to work through our potential losses, and our current losses. And then in turn, yeah, dude, it's called repetition. You know all about repetition, right? Your biceps and your chest wouldn't be as big as they are if you didn't have repetition. Yeah. Right. So that's the thing. It's like, yeah, dude, if I was, I'd be a billionaire right now if every time one of my mentors or somebody on my team gave me feedback and I fixed it right away. Humans just don't work like that. Right. And you wouldn't want it to work like that. Like Warren Buffett says, if you got a hole in one on your first game of golf, every single hole, you would not play golf anymore because it'd be boring. So it's like, it's always going to be a ratio, dude. So I appreciate you having the balls to come back on here and say, hey, I'm still dealing with this kind of stuff. That's because you're called a human, bro. Ryan said this isn't time to hit on him. He's vulnerable. All right, dude.
And that's exactly, but that vulnerability is exactly what we need to do more of as men. Wes, you come back to this all the time. Like, there's more to this group than just flexing our muscles and abs. Like, yep. It's the stumbles. It's the path of progress. It's not called like when you get to the mountaintop, you're welcome in this group. It's the path of progress. It's the stumbles. And so this is exactly what we're here for. And so thank you, Troy, for being vulnerable, and thank you for like letting us know all these challenges, because, you know, like I said, like this, like Wes says, this group is a circle. It's not a hierarchy. And you help us when you bring these challenges to the microphone. Like, you just reminded me that if I was still drinking or doing drugs, I would not have my own gallery. I would not have my own business. I would not be showing up in my marriage. I would not be showing up to my daughter to the limited extent that I am. I'm not perfect by any means. I've got miles to go, but you're reminding me that like I need to do my scorecard and not get high.
Hell yeah.
That's what future me needs more than anything.
Dude, love you guys. Awesome session. Troy, anything else, buddy, before we hit? All right. Love you, dudes. Troy, keep us up to speed on the progress, bro. All right. Later, dudes. Have a great fucking day. Great week.